Welcome to Wealthonomics Society. And if you don't know who I am, my name is Gustavo Pinheiro. I have been real estate investing for at least 15 years. I've done 300 plus deals at my last count. What I wanted to share with you today is that some of you out there may be still trying to do your first deal. I was in your exact same shoes a few years back. So I want to let you know that it didn't happen overnight. And you hear this from a lot of people say it all the time. How do you get your first deal? First and foremost, I think that if you're struggling, it's important to get a mentor. And so I had a mentor who actually helped me do my first deal. Matter of fact, I did my first deal with my mentor. He was the one that actually got the property tied up, and he was actually got it under contract, and I was the one that bring the buyer in. And so one of the first things that I learned when I spoke with my mentor was this. I told him, tell me what to do, and I'm gonna do it. So I studied the book, I listened to the audio tapes, I studied the contract, I learned it inside and out, and I asked a lot of questions. So don't forget to ask a lot of questions. I would ask him questions, I would go through the contract over and over and over again to the point that he says, listen, here, pre-write your contract, you only need to worry about this part, and this part. And once I did that, I knew that I could write any contract in my sleep in 10 minutes or less because I knew I only needed to focus on certain parts of the contract. Everything else was pre-written for me. So on the first deal that we did, right, he said, I had this deal. And guess what? The deal is a little skinny. What he was implying to me was that there's not enough room for both of us to make money. So I was like, okay. He goes, if you want to make any money, you're going to have to add on to the price. Okay, being the guy that I am, I understood that I need to add my price, but I didn't know what to add on. Like what was a noble amount of money that I could make. So I just made I just made up a number in my head. I said $10,000, right? So I said $10,000 on my first deal. Let's see if it sticks. And so when I proposed it to the buyer, I said to the buyer, we're not looking at comps, we're not looking at this, we're looking at cash flow. Here's the amount of rents, this is what's gonna cost to fix it, and this is the purchase price you could buy it. When we did the numbers, they said, sure enough, let's do it. And when they did it, much to my surprise, I was like, okay, what do I do next? And so I was excited, but I was scared. So when you're doing your first deal, don't be afraid or don't be surprised if you're excited and scared, because that's what happened to me. Even with the mentor, I was still having someone hold my hand. I still was excited, but afraid. So when I did my first deal, I didn't know how much my mentor was making on the deal, right? So comes closing, and I'm gonna tell you how green I was. I didn't even know how to read a closing statement. They called it a HUD statement. Right? So we got the HUD. I'm still trying to calculate how much money I'm making. And I go there and I meet him at the title company, and he goes, how'd you do it? And he had like a smirk on his face. I was like, how do you do what? I don't know what you're talking about. He goes, how'd you do it? I was like, again, I don't know what you're talking about. He goes, how did you make more money than I did? I was like, what? He goes, yes, I made $2,500 on this deal and you made 10 grand. And I said, thank you, because you taught me well, but I also gonna tell you I was gonna be your best student, right? And so I smirked and laughed, but he gave me, in that moment, he gave me the reassurance and the confidence that I could do it again. So I did the play-by-play and I reviewed my deal. So when you do your first deal, here's a couple of things. Don't be afraid to get a mentor. Don't be afraid to ask questions. Make sure you understand the closing statement, and make sure you understand all the different aspects of a deal. If you're in an attorney state, talk to your attorney. If you're in a title state, make sure you talk to the title company. Make sure you understand all aspects of the deal. If you're doing a wholesale deal, make sure you understand the different parts of the deal. If you're buying a deal and then later flipping it, there's many different aspects. A general consensus depending on which type of deal you're doing. But for me, since I was just doing a straight up wholesale, I just need to know the working parts, how to close the front end, the A to B side, to the B to C side, selling to my buyer, and how do I do all those things? It's very important to review your deals. These are the top 3 things to follow up after you do your first deal. Number 1, make sure you have a mentor to guide you, someone that's experienced to hold your hand through that. Number 2, make sure you understand all the different aspects of a real estate transaction. Who do you need to talk to? Is there a realtor involved? Is there a title company? Is there an attorney? Who are the players? Where's the money coming from? All those different aspects you need to understand. Number three, I would say is most important. After you do your deal, after you do your first deal, review what went well in the deal so that way you could duplicate it again, and also review what didn't go well in the deal and then not to do it the next deal.